Hey YouTube, what are you going to learn in this video? I want to show you that you have amazing stories, and you might look at me and say, no I don't. Yes you do. I will give you a structure that will help you find them, and then you can use them to influence and inspire other people. Are you ready? Let's do it. Go! Hey YouTube, my name is Tomas Bay. I'm also known as Coach Bay, and today I am shooting from beautiful Saigon. I've actually been struggling for the last couple of days. I came here to shoot videos and I couldn't find a place with the right light and not too much noise in the background. So today I decided to go to District 2, which is a little bit out of town, and I'm sitting at the riverside, so there's more light and not as many motorbikes driving around. So what is this video about? I have been running a lot of workshops, I've been helping a lot of people, and one of the things I always look for when people present or pitch an idea is tell a story. Tell a story, share a story. And more often than not, people look at me and go, are you asking for a personal story? And I go, yes. Personal stories work best because it's your story and you've been through whatever happened, and you know, people want to know who you are and connect with you and so forth. And more often than not, people look at me and go, huh? I'm just an ordinary, boring girl or guy, and I don't really have any interesting stories. My life is just really normal, and I'm always like, this is crap. You are full of something. And I've taken it on to kind of like help people take these stories, find those stories in your life. Now, I've been struggling to do that until I came across a book called Stories for Work. And it's written by a phenomenal lady from Australia called Gabrielle Dolan. And she has a 4-step framework that she has used with her clients. Now the book Stories for Work is very practical. It's full of stories, and the cool thing about it is that you don't really know those people that she's talking about. They are business people like you and me. It's not Richard Branson, it's not Steve Jobs, it's not, you know, any other famous person. It's like normal people. And the framework she has used, the 4 categories, I've been applying now for a couple of months, and they work with me, they work with the people I help, and people are just like, this is fantastic. And once you categorize your stories, they are a lot easier to find. So these 4 categories work like a filter. You look at your life, and then you look for themes, and you put those stories into those 4 boxes. So let me get started. The first box is around triumph. Okay, first box is called triumph. And those are stories around winning, success. So if you're in business, you might have landed a new client, you might have increased your market share, you might have gone into a new territory and kicked butt, or you might have launched a company. You might be a startup and you have launched a successful app or a new thing that has changed the world. As a personal story, it could be you've landed a new job, you have successfully helped another team to achieve something, but it could also be from your personal life. It could be all the way back to school, where you might have been the class president, or it might have been you won a medal in some sport. You overcame a struggle, even in sports or at work. So at sports, you might have been last in a race, and you might have been sick, and you might have been running with a broken leg, but you still managed to get through. So anything and everything that is related to winning, success, overcoming, achieving, climbing a mountain, and also experiences, like you might have gone to a 4 Seasons hotel and you had the most, you know, best experience in terms of customer service and care, and people were attentive. Those stories help show other people what great looks like. So that is the first category, triumph. Okay, first category. Now the second category is a less happy category. It's called tragedy. And tragedy are stories related to loss and things that have gone wrong. And it could be as dramatic as your best friend died of cancer, or someone at work got into an accident where they might have broken a leg or lost a limb, but something dramatic. It could have been you were fired. You might have been fired from the first job, your second job, your third job. I hope not, but you could be. Or you could have lost a client, you could have lost market share, competition could have kicked you in your ass because you got the strategy wrong. It might be as simple as you were offered an opportunity when you were 25 and you said, no, I'm not ready. And now you regret it. They offered you a move to Japan and you said, no, because I have a girlfriend and I'm not going to move to Japan. Now 20 years later you're like, I should have gone. So why would you tell stories of like sad, bad stories where things go wrong? And it's not about the things that went wrong, it's about what did you learn? What did you learn going through all that? What did you learn afterwards? What are the insights? What can other people maybe learn from your experience? Never give up, keep moving on, whatever it might be, but there are insights to these stories. So those are the stories from the category called tragedy. The next one, and I guess you see a pattern now, the next one also starts with a T and it's called tension. Tension would be stories around values, conflict, where you either go left or you go right. Should I have that cake? Should I really have that cake, or should I eat the apple? Your work-life balance. How much time do I spend at home with the family? How much time do I spend at work creating the next big thing? When you are at work, how much do we focus on quality versus speed, on cost saving versus doing more for the clients to get more sales? Every day we have these things. The struggles between, should I do this, should I do that, should I read more, should I finish my emails, or should I go and talk to the team? Should I spend more time with the customer, or should I spend more time in these internal meetings? Religion, politics, all these areas have conflicts, values, where you might believe in something, but you are kind of forced to do something else. So take those stories and use them to explain the struggle and explain how you made choices. That will get people to know you better. It will get people to see how can they, when they go to work, when they operate, how can they make better decisions based on yes or no, because the world is not as black as white as we think when we are kids. It's a bit more gray, and these stories will help you and help your people go through those situations where it's should I do this or should I do that. All right, that was the third category, tension. Now the last one is called transition. Transition is all about changes, moves. So let's say you got a new job. It might be your first job. That's a big transition. Going from school to your first job where you actually have to work for the man or the woman and you start to make money. It might be earlier years where you have to change the school. Can be pretty dramatic. It might be situations where you have moved to another city, moved to another country. Those transitions are always a challenge, and you have to deal with new environments, new people, new cultures. Stories like that are interesting from like, how do I deal with change? Because many people say, oh, I love change. I love when things are, different. And in most cases that's crap and bullshit, because people like the changes when the changes is good for them, but most of us kind of resist because we get comfortable and we get used to our environment. So stories around change will help people see how you go through that successfully or not, and the kind of thinking, decision making that is involved in those stories. Again, you want to share about insights, how you felt. It makes you more human. You will connect with more people. Also on a private basis, if you have like going from being single in a relationship into being married, having kids, getting older. All those are transitions, again, can be pretty dramatic because every time is a new way of living. All right, so that was the last one, transition. So let me go through really quickly. First we had triumph, so stories of winning, success, you kicked ass. We had stories in the category called tragedy, so this is about loss, regret, something bad happened, but you learned and you overcame and you have insights to share about the struggles you faced. You have stories of tension, so stories where you are in conflict, values, should I stay, should I go? How do you deal with those tensions? How do you make the right choices? And lastly, transition, so any move you made in your life, school, work, being single, being married, all those transitions have learnings, insights that you can share. Now, some of you might say, that's all great, I still don't really know that I have that many stories. So I have one more tip. You all have a mobile phone, and most smartphones are full of pictures that you have taken. People take pictures of everything nowadays. So another way to spark your creative juices and think of stories is to open your photo album and just scroll through the photos. Every single photo is a story, right? Every single photo. Take those and put them into your library. So the idea with all this is to use those 4 categories to kind of like filter your life. Whether you're 19, 79, filter your life and take those stories, put them into this library. And then you can use those stories to influence other people, to show them a point. So get started in your library, take a piece of paper, create those 4 categories, think about stories from work and think about stories from your personal life and put them in there. You don't need to decide now whether, oh, that's a great story, no, that's a boring story, no, that's the last story. Put it down, just write it down. Having it in your library doesn't mean you have to use it. It's like going to the public library. They have gazillions of books. Not every single book is awesome. Some of them are really amazing and some of them are not. Now, one more thing. Recently I met a lady. She was one of my classes and we did storytelling, and she's a Taiwanese lady and she now works for Swire Coca-Cola. So she sells Coke and their related products in Taiwan. She stood up and she shared this story that 18 years ago she used to work for Starbucks in Taiwan, and she looked after, she was a younger lady, obviously one of her first jobs, and she looked after the beverages and food. And at the time Starbucks was in a very aggressive expansion, so they had kind of like a standard menu, everything is in boxes, this is what we sell and we don't do anything else. And they did not have any locally inspired products. So Katya, she looked at the Taiwanese market and said, this is great, but they drink other things than coffee. How about a green tea cream frappuccino? And she tested it with some friends and some colleagues, and they were like, yeah, this is great. Starbucks said, no way. No way. We have a standard menu that allows us to expand fast. We do not want any green tea, whatever, cream frappuccino. But Katya, she was like, no, this makes sense. I will keep pushing, I will keep doing whatever I can to influence Seattle, where Starbucks is headquarters. And in the end, she managed to convince Starbucks Seattle and Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, that green tea cream frappuccino was amazing. It was launched in Taiwan, huge success. Then it was launched in Singapore and Japan, huge success. And you can get it now in most countries in Asia, and people love it. Since then, Starbucks has introduced more locally produced products. Why? Because it makes sense that you kind of have like the standard ones, but you also have something for the local people. Now, after the class, before that, I mean, everyone in the room was like, we had no idea Katja was behind this locally produced green tea frappuccino. Everyone was like, seriously, did you do that? And we even had my co-facilitator, Virginia, is former regional head of marketing in Asia for Starbucks. She knew the story, she had no idea that it was Katja. So people were like, wow, amazing. I go to the airport subsequently, Katja is in the taxi, and she said to me, she said, yeah, I'm sorry, but normally I don't tell this story because it's old. I'm like, what? It is old, it's 18 years ago, it's an old story. And I looked at her and said, seriously? How old is the Bible? And she looked at me a bit confused and she went, oh, I get it. Here's the deal. Great stories never expire. So share your stories and make them count. All right? Create your library. Look for the other videos on storytelling, how to tell them, how to tailor them for your audience. Any questions and comments below. Thank you for listening, YouTube. See you again.